stay warm is so afraid of my affections. You could drown in your own storm. There's no need for reservation. No one else can see. After some examination, man, I think that you've got what I need. It's really alright. It's really alright. It's really alright if you don't love me. What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, that cold-hearted landscape or me? What's that look of consternation? I'm completely in control. So if you're thinking of evasion, there's something you should know. Well, I wouldn't say I own you, but you're a lover without liberty. Which would you rather face, that cold-hearted landscape or me?
Hello, darlings. Okay. I realized that my water was in the pot, but not cooked. So I just went and turned on the kettle. It should be ready in a minute. I'll put some hot water in here to warm it up a bit. And we're going to do the next part of this. It won't take as much, but I want to see if after this is to this stage where it's safe for me to handle it, if I can add on fresh, because if I can do it that way, then I can build some clothes in a smaller space. Okay. So there we have, very light, very, very light. Getting lighter. It's got to be cobwebby. Okay. Or as our friend Alice said, colored air. That is what it feels like. Now, I did give a little bit of a strength test to this, and as one might expect by the looks, it's not meant to take a bunch of tugging on it, and it's not something for stressful situations. And it'll be so light, and it can go over anything. I'm hoping. That's the goal. Aha. That was the sound of the kettle. Let me know the water has boiled. I'll be right back. Okay, let's warm things up a bit. It's more pleasant too. In general, the warmer the water, the faster the felt, but I don't really want to rush it that much because you want the fibers to have a chance to mingle. If you make things too hot for too fast, it kind of seizes up and it doesn't really felt as beautifully as you want. Just when you think you've got it really thin, you realize, oh, there's more layers in there that can get pulled apart a bit. More air through. As long as the fibers are facing in the right direction. And a world it is indeed. Good morning to you. And aloha. Hello. How art thou today? All right. It's the test pilot right there. I'm feeling there's going to be more soap. My printer is malfunctioning. Yeah, mine's dead. I can relate, unfortunately. I say it's alive and well if I want to throw away all of the perfectly good ink that I bought for it. I can't use because of their software update to my hardware, not allowing us to use things that are not their name brand. So fuck them. I will throw it away. Okay, we do not need a ton of water for this one little spot. It's so light we could have just gone with the foam, but We'll absorb the extra water in just a second here. Plenty of water. Yeah. Why are you printing pictures of her? Some might take that as a sign. Ah, so you already had her image in your house, replacing it with a better one. You have to be so delicate when you first start with this cobweb stuff. Well, that's wonderful. I had family pictures around. Yeah. I think I'm gonna get a little olive oil soaked right here. Is he in Michigan? I'm not surprised there's some pretty fierce storms out there. He told me that. Hello. You want to have questions answered, you're going to ask him. It's funny being croaked between, being things. Because we know we're not dead, but we have personas that everybody, you're still in the wave of that persona. You know, your brother is your brother, just like I know my dad is my dad. But my father is, of course, as he demonstrated 16 years after he croaked, he's way more than that. And everybody is more than that. It's just that everybody you're looking at, you're just seeing the face they're wearing for this episode of life. That's why I say pay attention to now and don't waste time on the past. Your story is like a movie, you're right here and now. You're writing the movie for tomorrow. Today's the back of tomorrow. Well, no wonder you have so many people around you. When we think about them, especially if we think about them when we're feeling good, it's like sending a hug out that they resonate, they are immediately right there. But they do that even if they have incarnated already elsewhere. They could have been reborn already. Doesn't matter. the greater part of us does not manifest here on earth. And that's the part that all of us are connected through. But when you are looking at a lot of photographs, of course, you're bringing up the good, the bad, the beautiful, the ugly. You can't be all that picky, as it all comes out. One thought leads to another. That's just the natural order of the brain. But we don't want to get lost in the past. It's just not fruitful is the word that comes to mind. It's not fruitful to go backward. It was yesterday the seeds were planted. Or say yesteryears. But once we drop the personas, we don't carry our family with us the way we carry family here. Here we watch DNA and, hierarchies and all that, but that doesn't exist in the greater order, or sometimes lack thereof. I thought that was beautiful. It's so meaningful. It comes from the heart. Your dog was right there. That dog was alive in that moment. Because spirit-wise, he is. He still exists. All of him, all of his ages. Depending on when you want to tap into. Although, when Cotton went over, she looked, well, when she first left her body, she looked pretty much like she was in physical reality. Lumpy old black lab. And, she was 13, so she was old. And at first, that's what I saw. But then as she started recognizing that she was not in her body anymore and the restrictions were gone and she was starting to feel herself and remember what she was, it was like we looked at each other. It was just, we were both in it kind of like, you can see me, you can see me. And I watched her, I felt her vibration getting faster, lighter. And I thought of that Star Trek episode where those beings who they vibrate at such a high rate, they just sound like buzzing in the ear when they walk by or they talk to people. They're just so fast. It's kind of like that. It was cool. But anyway, anything we love, anything, everything, every thought, every deed, everything is still, it still has its own life as itself. We're very complex. That's why so much can happen so fast. I'm not going to be able to go in into that kind of an explanation right now, so I'm just going to drop that. Okay. It seems like we're almost there. So it happens real fast with just 2 layers of this super fine fibers really shredded out. Which is a good thing. We're going to find out if it became one with the previous piece. Looks like it. This will be wonderful. So, been thinking for this how to make a pattern for myself so I can make something to wear, like wear. I have all the stuff I wear over the dress, like, you know, to protect my arms when I go out in the sun. They're pretty cool. It'd be nice to make something out of this material that I can wear that way, because this is so light and fluffy. When I move, it'll float. Oh, you know, kind of, which is the goal here. Make something that will, as Alice said, will look like colored air. Yep, I just tore that away. No, come back. That's not a good sign. Okay, it's like a baby. You have to be very, very gentle with the baby hairs. Actually, I think they would liken it to touching a baby's face. You want to be very, very gentle. Oh yeah, funny animations. You're getting like the cat. Yeah. And what does Cyrus think about it? Does he approve of what you're watching? Does he want you to just put the pad down and let him choose? Like, okay, enough with your taste, you're weird. Give me back my cat shows. Mice and fish. I'd say teach him about catching roaches, but you do not want one of those for a pet. Sometimes when they make friends with it, they don't kill it, and they don't want to kill it, and they don't want you to kill it. They just bring it home to be buddies with. I had to once go to the store to buy a cage for one of the buddies that my cat brought home. It's like, no, that's my lizard, my mouse. Don't you touch it. Lizard I had to let go. Southern California, it belonged out there. The mouse, you don't want to let those go when there's people's gardens around. So I took it in. Also, I think it was a domesticated mouse. It was a white mouse. You don't usually find a white mouse in the wild. I don't think Tasha went looking in other people's cages, but that was her buddy, her white mouse. And that I pulled away too harshly, so it will probably not felt now. It looks like I felt it separately. So let's hope for the best on this part. I might be able to make it happen. Incorporating into the design an extra thicker stripe in the pattern. Well, I will learn more at the wool fair. Oh, is that what they are? The ice slops, where it's clearly the machine creation with little human guidance or talent. Scared Ketchup is a great channel. They do some amazing work between their videos and the music they write for them. I have one that I listen to just because it's a good song. It's called Release the Files. Well, it looks like some of it did work, but it's too stretched out, so it's not going to look good. But if it'll stay, it'll still be a good sign. But this part right here, we need to make sure it's really perfect. Delicate. It did knit there and there. All right. I'll try some more. All right. Need a much bigger overlay to make sure it really knits. Coming from China. And probably little web beacons implanted in them as well. Meta Meta has their hooks into a lot of things now to track all the usage. And excuse me, those greeting cards that I've been buying for years, digital cards. Well, they partnered with another card site for an extra $15 for the year. So I went ahead and I did that because I love sending those cards. But then I just got an announcement a month or two ago that they were now partnered with Meta. So I looked into the fine print And what it is every time you look at or use, send, wherever that card goes from their site, Meta will be tracking it. It's like, now, it's supposed to help with their advertising, see who's interested, blah, blah, blah. But what it does mean is that everything you are doing is being spied on. So I unclicked auto renew, and I will let them know there will be no renewal so long as I see Meta implanted in their website. We have enough people taking our data. I mean, freaking so many right now already without our conscious consent. But some stuff is simply, it says, well, your use signifies consent. Like you work here, you play on here, you're automatically assumed that you have consented to the terms of the use of the site. But if you don't go and look at those terms, you don't really know what those are, right? And some of them are way more surprising than expected. That depends on which one we're talking about. So as things come up and they want you to subscribe or reveal information, it's not even like the scams. These are the legit legal, they get away with this, and that's how they take all your data. They also use a lot of apps to entice you into giving the data, like the facial recognition thing. They want to build as big a bank of faces as possible. Well, how do you get people to do that voluntarily? Style your hair, sir? This is what you would look like with this hair, and this angle, and that, and that. And now, guess where all that data goes? Now, we would like to pretend it's safe, but I just got a notice saying that some of my data had been breached. Or say my data was affected in a data breach. They didn't specify who did it. They only eliminated a couple of things, saying, oh, well, this is not what they got. But then they show you everything they did get, and you go, oh my God, my health records? It was most likely a health company, an insurance company breach. In any case, because of it, the company has offered 2 years free monitoring of my data to make sure it is not being stolen, like my identity being stolen or my credit being used. But that means I have to give this company a whole bunch of personal data, including my whole social security number, because they basically end up for having all of the credit agencies keeping an eye out for unauthorized use. So it's just we get more and more embedded in ways that we can't help. Like now I've got a quandary of, according to my research so far, the company that sent me the letter is extremely reputable, and that if they say there has been a data breach, I should pay attention to it, which is like, I don't even know who this company is, but they're somehow connected to my data. Yes, that's the truth. Today I went to vote for the governor, and there was another guy running besides the incumbent. So that's why we're having that even primary, because he had somebody who got enough signatures to suggest that I'm gonna have to give the people another option here. But I liked him because he's progressive, um, colors outside the numbers, but I mean, legit. But then discovered that he missed a lot of votes. He seriously just didn't vote on over 200 things that he should have voted on. It's like, it's not a matter of opinion. You have to make a vote representing your people. How, what the hell? I couldn't vote for him after saying what he didn't do. So I went with Limont, our incumbent, because he has done a good job for the state. And as the mayor of our town pointed out, he's been very kind to our town in helping us secure funds for revitalizing part of the community. And I asked some specific questions about protecting naive neighbors, in the face of fascists. You know what I'm talking about. I was assured that he is doing everything he can to make sure that none of that crap gets a foothold here. Now, this is a town of rebels. Going back to Benedict Arnold, he had an interesting history, in grade school, you just know Benedict Arnold was a traitor. But that was all I remembered from grade school. They didn't really go into it. And by the time you're old enough to understand the nuances of politics a little better, you've got no idea really. You don't go backward to study our beginnings once you're out of elementary school, because now you're on to things like world history. This is so much they try to stuff in your head in 4 years. So, well, a few years, like 12 years, but that includes kindergarten. All right, it's definitely overlapping now. I hope enough. If I go too high, it's just gonna, I wonder if that'll work. This is probably a waste of time doing this right here, but I'm gonna do it anyway, just in case. You never know. I can always pull it apart more if it's too bulky. I started talking about patterns earlier. I was inspired by someone who sews online. She's got a YouTube page. I don't remember her name. I don't think I took a good look because I was making breakfast at the time. But she sews, she uses patterns and an actual sewing machine, which, I'm left out of when it comes to skills there. And she reminded me about, oh yeah, patterns. I could look up a pattern for making a long sleeve sort of drapey thing, and use that to cut a template from. And if I order a template to use, I would just have to get one that is 2 sizes too big because of the shrinkage. You don't get your own size. You start there because you end up with doll clothes. All right, here we go again. Good luck. Yeah, better suds. They don't really need so much water. Push all the air out. Air prevents contact. No contact, no felting. Oh, they were plenty wet. My goodness. Definitely need to relieve you of some of that moisture. There you go. Just let it drip a little here. Dry off. Okay. Please become as one. So, is today a watering day, Mary? Did you get any rain? We're not expecting any more rain until Sunday. And that's even with these huge storms right now in the Midwest. Oh, it's not really Midwest. What's Indiana? West Virginia. That's south. Weather is not being kind to that area. Saturday, huh? That's really weird. We're so far apart. But Saturday night is when we're supposed to get our first sprinkles, I guess. We'll see. In the meantime, we've got weird clouds. Slippery. I want to take a sip of tea, but I'd like to keep it in the cup or my mouth. But so I made rice last night, which was great for dinner. But I made sure, after freezing a portion for a future dinner, I saved enough to make my crackers. So I'm going to make rice with coconut and sesame. They're going to be wonderful. And since the class is Saturday in growing sprouts, I got a tray started of about 2/3 is yellow peas and a third is sunflower. I'm only teaching them about the peas, but I thought it'd be nice to demonstrate other seeds as well. And sunflower sprouts are very good. They taste a lot like sunflower seeds, only they're a vegetable instead of a seed. Now, I'm not going to teach them how with everything. I'm going to send them actually to Mike's website here on YouTube. Keep on Growing, because he covers like everything, and they need to have a reference. I'm not going to be here to answer every question every time a sprout thing comes up, because I'm living my own life. That's one thing about when you do a workshop in your own building, you're more accessible, offset. So I don't mind helping, but I'm going to have my own garden. In fact, that's what I've been working on too, is setting up for everything. I got the mung beans started. Excuse me. Lentils are poised. Those only take 2 days. And ate them I'm going to bring them down there, showing them what stage they eat them at. I was going to say, it feels a little lumpy there. And that's why. Now I looked around our garden all over the place. Something is attacking the hostas. I've got some giant hostas out front that are blooming, lovely white flowers. If you get close enough, you can smell them. When I say close enough, it's like hostas, you need to stick your nose right in the flower. So I did, and smells nice. But something is devouring some of those leaves right down to the stump. I mean, the whole big leaf is just shawed right off. I've got just the stalk is left. That's it. And I looked and I couldn't find anything. I didn't find any turds. I didn't find any eggs. I didn't find any crawling things or flying things. So I don't know what's doing it. I don't know any animals that would be around here that would be eating the older leaves of a hosta. That's when they're tough and, yeah. We ran this right off the sheet here. Also wider. Of course, this part was already shrunk. Still, we're not supposed to be this wide. Got the hair in an uncomfortable place, making me itch. No, not there. Not yet. Now this would look kind of cool, felted into a black purse or bag. Like instead of laying out viscose, you'd lay this out on top. If I black with that on top, it'd look pretty cool. Ideas. They just pour in faster than I can execute them. But this here's a start. Ah, yes. You can see it wants to pull apart right there on my first attempt. Okay, too far away from the end of this. I need to lift it and hope that this works. Yay. Oh, dear. We don't need to torture you, do we? It's really tight. I didn't plan that well. Do this delicately. No, Greta. I see notes all over the place. Notes. Oh, yeah. Well, St. Louis is hot and sunny. Suffocating. I already voted today. I hope that we can count on your vote. I will if we couldn't. It's too late now. Oh, this is so beautiful. It's just about sparkles in the light. So, silky. It's like tissue paper. You need to be very careful. Those are big holes. I like, but okay, I saw a demonstration. I'm not sure it's going to work now that I've already messed with this, but this might be interesting. It might be, at least. Go anywhere you want. Silk. You'll just add to the strength as your silk. I already figure I'll be doing something similar to this on the 100-year-old scarf because of its fragility to start with. I'll get down there. Let's not get sloppy. Should I go further up? They're risky. Okay. I think we'll just stop with that so we can felt all these circles in. Right. There's not much of one there. Right there, we need to finish that. Gold. All right. That would help us. Oh. What time do your snails come out? Are you doing the saucer of beer? They get drunk and die and just have to pick up a plate full of dead snails? Maybe it doesn't kill them. Maybe you gotta pluck them out of there. They get drunk. I love beer. Although in Hawaii, I don't know what they drink. They don't care for the beer, huh? What do they go for? Southern snails love it. No, they don't. You have a tropical snail that we don't have here. I don't know what they like. They may be attracted to something entirely different than the fermentation stuff. Like fruit flies love the fumes that come off alcohol. They get drunk, and then it's easy to go blow them right into the water and they drown. Like, gone. I like that. No suffering. And they're drunk when it happens, so. Then I used to take a little monkey dish, like, matter of fact, this dish, something just like this. Put a little warm water in it, a teaspoon of brandy, which is what I had around at the time, and put it on top of my microwave, which was near my front door, actually back door, which is also a front door. And they would all just like take a perch around it, and I would just come up and go blow them right in, poof. And because the soap is in the water, they just sink. And it works until the alcohol completely evaporates and you start over, which by then you really want to anyway. You know, what a dead flies. Yeah, it does have to tempt them to something that they want and then take it from there. Like, okay, Japanese beetles. Oh my God, when they hatch, it's like an invasion. And their tactic is to just, as soon as their branches touch, they drop to the ground and crawl away until they can fly away. Okay, so they've got their survival thing, and they're like little metal bugs, so they're not that easily destroyed. But in time, I learned to put out a sheet out underneath the bushes, touch them, they drop, grab the sheets, and they get funneled into a jug with soapy water. So I just use their natural habits, you know, their defense mechanisms against them. They don't just fly off, they drop and then fly off. Broken shells around the plants. Why don't you just buy some diatomaceous earth? They crawl across it, they get scratched, they dehydrate. End of problem, even if you don't catch them. Diatoms are like very, 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 you can see them with the microscope, tiny shells that are all broken up and they're sharp as shit. And bugs get scratched by them and they have no defense system. So if they walk across it or inhale it or anything like that, it's over. Not everything works with that. Like, I don't think ants are bothered by DE. But most bugs hate it. And it looks like talcum powder. I mean, that's kind of how you handle it. I got a it looked like a long pipe, and you filled it up with like 2/3 the way with powder, and then you put the other part of the pipe in, and you just and at the bottom is a little nozzle, and it goes poof, 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 and you just poof it around. And indoors, I would do it with boric acid powder because we had the carpets and all the animals, and that's how I got rid of fleas and ticks, and cockroaches and spiders, everything but ants. Couldn't do anything about the ants. Those, you have to be more clever with how you poison them. Them, you got to go for the whole colony. You're going to send food back that's poison for the queen to eat. I learned, though, with like carpenter ants, which was the problem in this building, if you don't get them early enough, you end up with satellite nests of alternative queens. So when the queen disappears, the satellite has a queen. And I got lucky. I was just at the right intuitive moment, happened to be right here, and I caught the damn queen right after she was mated. Got her mate day before. It's like, yay, I saved the whole problem. Because once I got those two, there were no more problems. Don't you felt? It's supposed to be done. Okay, that's not felted yet. But because it is so thin, I think we'll be able to make this work. It's just going to take a little longer. And what we're going to do is flip it over so I don't rub it from the delicate side. So Maui, you've had breakfast, yes? 3 o'clock? It's only 9 a.m. for you. Just about 9 a.m. Small breakfast. That's usually what I do. At 9, I'm doing my tea, orange, and protein biscuits. And then later, I'll go to the kitchen and make something else. But today, I got distracted with going downstairs. I got somebody else signed up for the workshop on Saturday. And I forget there was another reason I had to go down there. Oh yeah, I went out to vote. I was thinking, not much gets me outside of this building. I mean, until I'm in the mood. I do leave. And not just for doctors. Although that is what's coming up. So the perfs again. Feels like there's a little teeny sharp, hard thing there, and it is. It's a little bit of plastic pushed upward. It feels like it's felting well. Not enough. Starting to look cohesive. All right, let's roll her up. I have an extra row to kind of make a border and use up what I just plucked. It works. It helps. Dare I go rinse this? I think so, because we've been at it for almost 2 hours. We're stopping in 15 minutes. So let's go check it out. I'll carry it on this. And I think I will run the water down the plastic to spare the draping from sticking to itself at first. And I'll be back in a minute. Well, you asked for it. Well, I think that's the way to go with small pieces. No idea what I'll do with a full length scarf. but that definitely was helpful to have a support behind it. Now, I was planning on making a white pre-felt so I can start working on my black and white handbag. But this has taken up a couple hours, and as I mentioned earlier, I want to make my rice crackers today because I made a healthy munchie. I want something that's not all full of sugar or salt. All right, let's flip it over. How did we do? Well, it looks pretty cool. Let's soak up some of the water and get a better idea. Oops. Go back, water. It's probably telling me you need to drink some water. Doing a quickie on them. Well, you know, pick out the ones that deserve more love and care. But yeah, it can be tedious if they just dump that kind of stuff on you. This is what happens when you don't have guidelines. I said, do you have a picture? Do you have a couple of pictures? 20 is a bit much. But this is the sister who's been good to you, isn't it? Okay, it's still quite white, quite wet. So let's put that out of the way for the moment. Give this a chance to dry a little better. That's different. That's not a user, it's someone who cares about you. For real. Now, we have an example. Okay, that did work. Okay, this was a whole yesterday's work, but it knitted just fine around that. Looks pretty good with the light. Danny? Which Danny is this? Denmark Danny or a different Dan? I'm doing excellently. Thank you for asking, and I hope you are doing the same. Ah, okay, not my Denmark Danny. He's been missing for a while, and I've been concerned about him. But welcome. Yes, I remember now. Their sisters and theirs. Oh my goodness. What surgery did you have, if you don't mind me being a nosy grandma? Were you sick? Or you have an accident? It's complicated. Complications. As long as you're on the road to full recovery and feeling good. So if people want to know about my health, it's like, it's complicated. We'll just leave it that. Well, let's see. What was I doing the last time you were here? Was I into the felting yet? Or still painting? Or doodling painting? Because now I'm painting with wool, but I want to paint things I can wear or use, like purses, things like that, hats. And now I'm working on cobweb scarves. Yeah, it's been a while. So if this doesn't look familiar, then it's before I was started wet felting. My goodness, it has been a while. Thank you. I have been making some beautiful stuff. I've even impressed myself. But now I have a 100-year-old silk gauze scarf that's falling apart. It was 50 years old when I bought it from an antique store, and I've been carrying it around for 50 years. So I have been learning how to, well, basically recreate it using it as the centerpiece. So I'm going to be doing something like this, but on top of an existing silk mess that's right now, it's full of holes. So I'll also be running some silk threads down the entire length of it to give it more strength. Oh, congratulations. I hope it works too. But this is what all this practice is about. And with the success of this, I feel much more confident about touching that scarf. I've collected all the wool I need, the silk, um, viscose, it's aquamarine. It's going to be gorgeous. But it's full of holes because it's been falling apart, like literally just melting in your hands. It's so old. So We're looking at different ways. This is still wet right now, so it's not as floaty, but this little bit of it is dry. You can see how, like one of our friends here calls it colored air. I'm working with colored air. Go to sleep, my darling. And I hope you feel wonderful. Oh, that's wonderful. Isn't that a beautiful challenge? That's great. Go rest well. And hope you can visit again soon. A lot of days this is when I come on, but I got on earlier today, so. That's exciting. I understand the thrill of that with what I'm teaching myself to do. So yeah, I like this. I think when it's dry and gets all floaty, we'll see how strong it is. But I think doing the circles around the holes is automatically strengthening everything because it limits how much it can stretch. But it leaves this space to maintain the fragile look. And it is fragile anyway. I did play with this, pulling it apart to see what kind of tolerances it has. It doesn't have a whole lot of tolerance when I make it this thin, but if I don't make it this thin, I can't get it to be floaty because it's wool. So yeah, I can't wait to show my sister because when we went wool shopping, she knits and she found a pattern to make a scarf that's super fine and light. And she bought the very expensive wool or the yarn already made to make that pattern. And I know, I mean, when it was, we saw it, was like, oh my God, we have to have that because it's like this. It's so floaty. It's so light and airy. A very, very small, lightweight, soft as silk yarn. So when I show her what I can do without the knitting part, because I don't knit, I think she will appreciate the whole effort because it does feel, well, this is full of soap right now and it's still a little damp, but when this is washed out completely and dried again, it's just going to be like a cloud. That's what we're aiming for. And then I want to see what can I do to design something to wear besides a scarf. Because honestly, it is way too hot to think scarves. But autumn is coming, and I'm going to want lightweight things to layer so I can go out and be cool and warm at the same time. So I'll have aerated clothes. That looks so weird on the camera. Looks like, what is she doing with that torn fabric? Is that a rag? No, no, not at all. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'll be back. I'll have to look at my calendar. I have a doctor appointment this week. I can't remember if it's tomorrow or the day after. So one day or the other, I will be back. Until next time, aloha.